I am Bookface, and you have been a bad child. That sounds a lot weirder out loud. Today, we're talking about Bogeyman figures. Creatures from a bunch of different cultures that parents use to scare their children into obedience. Personally, I find it a lot more rewarding to scare the crap out of adults. I mean, if you want to scare children, to each their own, I suppose. Embrace chaos. Some Bogeyman figures just serve as shortcuts in the disciplinary process, while some of them are actually just manifestations of real-life danger so that children can understand it and take it seriously, because we all know children don't listen. Unless you traumatize them, of course. With that definitely good advice out of the way, let's jump right in. Woo! First up, we have the Kalupiluit, or the Kalupalik, from Inuit myth. They were used to scare children away from sea ice and lurk near patches of broken ice. Steam rising from the ice were signs of the Kalupiluit, with most legends saying it's like their breath. And apparently the reason this happens in real life, because I did not know, is that the ice and water is warmer than the air around it, and that creates this little fog. And I didn't find anything explicitly saying this, but it wouldn't surprise me if that makes the ice a little weaker, you know, a warmer little patch of ice. So that could just be a little practical advice. Just, if you see this, the ice is warmer, so it's less stable. Or there's a monster breathing underneath it. Ice isn't really my thing. I'm kind of more of a fire guy myself. They're thought to hunt on shorelines and near ice flows. They have a human form, green skin, are covered in scales, have a long head. Hair. Why did I... long hair. This dude got a 5 head on him. Long hair and long, sharp fingernails. They're often thought to wear an amautik, which is a form of parka specifically. Why do I keep doing that? Which is a form of parka specifically for women that has a big couch. That's what I thought you said. In the back to carry children. The Kalupiluit are known to hum eerily and knock on the ice underneath people in an attempt to lure them to more dangerous areas. Because, yeah, follow the ominous humming and knocking from underneath the ice. Only good things can come from that. Also, because I felt like doing more research, apparently frozen bodies of water can make weird thumping noises or groaning noises as the ice shifts. This could also be a bit of practical information. Maybe saying like, hey, if you're hearing this weird thumping noise or what sounds like a weird humming, ice is probably unstable. They specifically target children separated from any adults. Strange danger! Children caught by the Kalupiluit would be put in a sack, or the amautik hood, presumably, and pulled under the water. From there, the Kalupiluit may devour the child, but they sometimes preserve the child to drain their vitality over longer periods of time. And these children would remain in this half-frozen sleep kind of state. Think like Sleeping Beauty and Magic Coma. Children who were not immediately killed could be rescued or even escape of their own volition at some point. Just have to have a magic alarm clock or a prince with questionable morals. Next, we have Rawhead. Also called Tommy Rawhead or possibly Bloody Bones. And there's a book by Clive Barker and also a 1986 horror movie on this creature. It's just called Rawhead Rex. I don't know if they're the same, and I didn't have time to read the book to compare.
They are the same. I checked. Clive Barker did the screenplay for the movie, so that probably means that it's just based on the book.
But I did watch the movie, and well, it's definitely an 80s horror movie, I can tell you that. This creature is known from British and US folklore, commonly in the American Midwest. Sometimes these stories are thought to have originated in Britain or Celtic myth even. It's used as a Bogeyman figure and is often seen as a companion to Bloody Bones, with them sometimes being seen as two parts of the same entity, or just being the same thing, which is why I was a little hesitant to say Bloody Bones is another name for it. It's a little tricky. When they're two parts of the same entity, one will be a headless skeleton that dances, and the other is a skull that bites people. And my source didn't clarify which is which, but considering one is called the Rawhead and one of the descriptions is literally just a detached head, I realized I might be a little stupid, because that probably should have been obvious. It's possible that they're connected to some zombie legends, like the original voodoo kind of zombies, not like modern zombies. And also a figure named High Walker, who is some sort of character in an old story that could cause bones of the dead to stir. But the story seems to make statements on like race relations, and while I'd very much like to find out more information, I don't think I know enough about that to really speak on it. I mean, I'm not qualified to speak on anything, really. I'm barely qualified to talk. This is one I don't really want to speak on unless I know the full story. If you want to find out for yourself, this is the resource, so if you want to read that, go ahead. The Rawhead is described as very ugly, with blood constantly pouring from its mouth. Descriptive. Sometimes, though, it's described as a tall figure in a black cloak. That's a little different. In the Pacific Northwest, it sometimes just appears as a cloud of green fog. That's a fart. It's thought to live in bogs, ponds, cabinets, and under the stairs, sitting on a pile of bones waiting for prey. Sometimes it's also thought to hide under children's bed and tickle them before they sleep. or put them in a sack. Lastly, we have el abuelo or el abuelo. The name translates to grandfather in Spanish, and is speculated to have some connection to words from the Pueblo Native Americans, which I'm a little confused about since that's just a Spanish word. He serves as a boogeyman figure, sometimes being identical to the kukui. He's also possibly related to a similar figure named Laguna Chapio, yet another interesting figure that I have not looked at. Look, research is hard. He also serves as a prominent figure in the Los Matachines dance, which consists of sword dancers wearing traditional bouffon clothes, which I know nothing about, along with his female counterpart, La Abuela. Oh crap, it's Granny!
I see you.
Red alert, this is not a drill! Yeah, I'm gonna reference that game. What of it? I'm not cringe, you're cringe. He's most commonly from New Mexico and Colorado, more so than other parts of the Southwest. He's depicted as an intimidating old man with a scary mask, but sometimes the mask is a tortilla on his face, utilizing buffalo horns and a horsetail. Boogeyman on a budget, I'm not gonna criticize. He also often wears a black cape and always carries a whip. I might criticize a little. He visits the houses of children on Christmas Eve, or an evening someday in the week before Christmas, to see if children have behaved. He would knock hard on the door and announce his presence, and the children of the house must respond by reciting their prayers. He also required children to know their catechisms too, so these things vary in content, but generally they include the Apostles' Creed, the Lord's Prayer, the Ten Commandments, and teachings of the sacraments or ordinances. If recited correctly, El Abuelo and the children would dance in a circle and sing. Specifically, they'd go right to left and then left to right in the circle. And yeah, I'm not really sure why that's a significant point, but at least one of my resources thought it was, so okay. He would specifically perform a dance called Las Palomitas, which means little dove. If the prayers or the catechisms were recited improperly, the children would be forced to dance alone, and the abuelo would sing threateningly at them while cracking his whip. Okay, remember how I said I wasn't gonna judge? I'm judging now. I'm being very judgy right now. Is that the world's longest chancla? He would be left sweets and cookies, which he carried off in a large sack, but he could also use the sack to carry away disobedient children. Sometimes, though, he'll just knock on the door, ask if children behaved, the parents will defend them, and he'll just be like,
okay, make him pray and go to bed.
And he leaves, I guess. And yeah, that seems like a lot less hassle right there. I don't really want to dance around with Spanish Krampus. Or any Krampus, actually. And there are 3 boogeyman figures. Moral of the story, children are stupid, so scare the crap out of them. If you liked this video, please leave a thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe. If you like the information shared here, check out my website where all of this will be up, and also plenty of other information from other creatures I've researched. If you for some reason think I deserve to be paid for this, I have a Patreon, and I will see you next time. Bye!